Today on the Let's Be Real podcast, we'll be covering the Five Nights at Freddy's box office, the delays from Paramount and Disney, the Maestro trailer, the Iron Claw trailer, a little sneak peek at the physical media releases for November, Wanda Maximoff's fate in the MCU, and the studio's deadline for the strike. Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Be Real podcast. I'm Nain, your host for this episode, and I'm joined here by the usual James and Kyan again. Boys, how you guys doing and what have you been up to?
Oh, not much. Doing good. It's a good old Saturday. Nice sunny day today. Can't complain. What have I been doing? Spider-Man 2. Basically finished that game. It's great stuff. Really good story. The Spider-Man fans continue to be treated year upon year. So that was a lot of fun. Now it's back to no video games for me.
Until Fortnite.
No, yeah, maybe for a reunion at the OG map. Been watching a lot more Andor. So I'm up to episode 9 now. Yeah, I see what Kyan's been saying. It started to work. I'm like, episode 6.
Episode 6.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's like, whoa, okay, that was good. And now it's a lot more interesting and engaging, and the writing is very good.
That episode was just so intense throughout the whole entire runtime of it.
Was that the
Definitely.
prison?
No, it's the one where they're stealing like shells or something.
Stealing the credits from
Yeah.
Oh
Beanie
yes,
credits.
yeah, the eye or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then it's like with that beautiful array of all the
yeah.
meteorites or whatever they are. Yeah, no, it's just really good, and I just love the deeper look and insight into stuff that we don't really see in Star Wars, like people in the Empire having jobs. It's just I think it's good. And besides that, me and Kyan, we finished Gen V, the first season.
We did.
Yeah, lucky to get that those last 2 episodes quite early on. So yeah, I really enjoyed the season. I think the boys can absolutely work with multiple different stories all going at once through different TV shows. They just keep finding ways to be good and find that kind of shock of value to it to continue to be there. I really enjoyed it. Hands over nicely to the boys season 4. So yeah, looking forward to that one now. What did you think of the entire first season?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think a lot of people might have a bit of memory loss from the first season of The Boys, but I remember very distinctly at the end of the first season being like, I really enjoyed that. I'm excited for the second season, but I wasn't crazy about it.
Right.
I wasn't like ravenous for the next season.
Yeah.
I was just like very interested in it. And that sort of feeling floated through a lot of people. A lot of people weren't super ravenous.
Yeah.
That came later on when they explored more of Homelander's character and they got deeper and deeper into these sort of like crazy, bizarre concepts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way. I actually feel a little bit more optimistic about Gen V in that regard, because I think I might actually have enjoyed Gen V just a touch more than the first season of The Boys.
Right. So you think the further that series goes on, that you can get more into it than The Boys?
It's possible, or at least it ties in nicely with The Boys.
Yeah,
and I'm saying it's just a good sign for the show.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's better than The Boys or The Boys is
Right.
better than it. I'm just saying it's just a very good sign that they've kept that quality up.
Yeah. Because I would say that Homeland is kind of like the centerpiece of The Boys right now. Do you think that like any of the characters have that kind of potential of what Anthony Starr does with Homelander and what Homelander is? Or
No. I mean, Anthony Starr as Homelander is like one of those, cosmic coincidences of an actor in a role where he just manages to play it so well and create such a presence that you can't replicate that.
It's hard.
And if studios could replicate that, they would, but they just can't.
No, I definitely agree. You've been watching anything else?
Have I been watching anything else? I've just started watching the X-Files.
I
I swear you were watching it like during COVID.
Oh, actually, I was, but I was only watching it like in bits and pieces.
Right.
And I've restarted watching it from the start.
How much episodes are there? There must be hundreds.
There is tons.
Yeah. What's drawn you to X-Files?
Just is something in the background, really.
Oh,
You know, something to just like watch.
like Andor.
Ooh.
He waited for that shot.
He was waiting for a shot all day.
I was waiting patiently for my time.
What about you, Nan? What have you been watching? Besides Rugby World Cup, which is tomorrow, the final.
It is tomorrow, the final. That's a big reason why we're doing it today, because who knows what mood I'll be in tomorrow. Pretty much still sports. I've been the Rugby League has had their own little Pacific Nations Cup, so I've been watching that. Kiwis and Australia played today. And then we've also been watching some ice hockey during work. If
nice.
Work people listen to this online. But other than that, it's just I haven't really watched anything movie or TV related in a long, long time, except for Andor.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I've been watching here and there. Otherwise, it's just been sports. But come next week, it'll probably change. Sports are finished.
Yeah, because you're going to be in a slow kind of period for sports, eh?
Yeah, it'll just be ice hockey, really.
Yeah.
Until March, February.
Yeah.
When preseason and stuff starts. But
pretty much.
Well, that's when I can catch up on all these TV shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Shall we get into it, boys?
Yes, we should.
Yeah. Cool. First topic is Five Nights at Freddy's box office potential. So it's already made $10.3 million on Thursday night. Box Office Pro has it finishing for the weekend between 65 and 85 million, and Deadline their projection is 68 million. Also remember that Five Nights at Freddy's has a day and date release, so it released in cinemas and on Peacock streaming services at the same time. So, James, box office guru, do you agree with either of these, Box Office Pro or Deadline, and what's your projection? And same for you, Kyan.
Yeah, I do agree with it, but I'd like to make a little correction there that they had changed these predictions after the opening night figures. They forecasted about 7 million for opening night. They're off by 3 million, which is quite significant for an opening or the Thursday previews. So I think they were looking at around 50 million. I think from all the data that I was seeing, it was going to be around 60 and over. I think we're going to be looking at something like 65 and 75. But from that, the opening day is going to be around like 30 to 35 million. And so it's going to be a heavily front-loaded movie. I think you're going to be looking at something similar to Halloween Ends, which made like 32% of its total domestic gross on its first day, which is a massive amount. It just, it feels like a movie that's just kind of, all those kind of fans and old fans are just going to come to it, see it, and then that's it. And then you compare that with the day and date release on Peacock. I don't know why they did that.
Maybe they had no faith in it.
I mean, Five Nights at Freddy has a very big fandom, so I would have thought they would have given it like 4 weeks at least in cinemas and then done it quickly to Peacock maybe. But yeah, the opening weekend potential without Peacock being involved that would have been very interesting. Could have reached like maybe 80 million. Yeah,
big.
You never know. But yeah, I expect this to open up big this weekend and drop like a actual rock. Like it will. I think it'll drop 75%. I'll just say 75%.
Yeah, I think the
Halloween figure right now.
Yeah, Halloween weekend as well would be driving it.
Oh yes, yeah, of course. I thought you meant like Halloween the movie.
No, the event.
Yeah,
holiday, whatever.
But yeah, I think it'll play like the Halloween movies anyway. And Halloween genre films anyway. They always open up big for Halloween and they just drop like nothing else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't expect Five Nights at Freddy's to be this big though. And yeah, if you're keen for some fights, maybe Five Nights at Freddy's is something that you want to go see because everyone seems to be fighting in these cinemas.
Yeah, see, Taylor Swift Eras Tour has little girls dancing around in a circle. Five Nights at Freddy's is like another Fight Club.
It's the true movie experience.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think this is a front-loaded movie, but for different reasons.
Right.
I think it's a front-loaded movie because the reception that I'm seeing is actually not great. I feel a lot of people want a specific thing from this movie. They wanted it to be, I suppose, as enthralling and engaging as the game, and you're not going to get that when you watch this movie. The game is very much like you're going through corridors, and it's very, very jumpy and very, very tense. Whereas the movie itself, from what I understand, is completely different tone.
Right.
Understandably, because it's a different medium. But I think the reception of it has not been positive in that regard.
Yeah, it was like, I think it's like 27% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's very low.
It's very low. And, if it was something that was maybe a lot more meta and really leaned into its source material and maybe use that as a driver to do scares, creative, fun, inventive scares and stuff like that, it would have a much greater reception.
So do you think something like that should be R-rated? Because it's PG-13 in the States. R13 here, though, so...
I think it's probably rated correctly. I don't think it's really makes sense to make it R16 or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's... you can be very, very inventive with scares and very scary at that rating level.
Yeah.
But you basically have unlimited potential up to R13.
Yeah.
And then from R16 to R18, all you're doing is adding gore.
Question for you guys. Do you guys know much about the story? No.
No. I haven't played the game. I know about the game and the concept, but I actually don't know the story at all.
Yeah, because
I've played the game.
Yeah.
I've played like a few runs of it, but I haven't played it like from the start or read up on it. I've just played a few runs of it for shits and giggles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, when I was visiting my family down in New Plymouth, my sister was really excited for it, and then she like put on like this YouTube video explaining the entire story of Five Nights at Freddy. I don't know how you even make that a movie. It's just such a dumb concept. I just found it completely silly, and I'm very fascinated to see how it can work in the type of movie medium. But yeah, we'll see. It was a really bizarre and weird story. I don't know how it's gotten the fan base.
Well, the thing is, with horror, you're granted a little bit of campy, weird, silliness. You're granted that. Like Chucky works. It has always worked in some level.
I think I mean that in the sense of how it's captured its fan base, which is younger audiences.
Right.
Like my brother, when he was like 10 to 12, was really invested in this. And I'm just like, how is that appealing like to a child? So it's a very fascinating kind of fandom.
Weird. Oh well. Anyway, we'll go on to something a little bit more depressing, which is delays. It's COVID 2.0 all over again. So we have Paramount and Disney today has just announced some delays. So we'll tackle Paramount's first, and it's a big one. So Mission Impossible 8 has now been delayed from May 23. Wait, what? No, it's been delayed from May 23rd, 2024 to June. Oh, I wrote that so wrong. Sorry. It's been delayed from 2024 to 2025, and it's going to be getting a title change as well, which is weird considering Dead Reckoning Part 1 has come out, and we're not going to get a Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Wait, so it's called Dead Reckoning Part 1, but then the next movie is going to be called something else?
Yeah.
That's I've never seen that before.
Yep, so all those physical media collectors waiting for Part 2. Ugh.
That spine on their shelf is going to look weird. Someone's going to go, where's Part 2?
Yeah. And the other one is A Quiet Place Day 1. That was scheduled for March 24, and it's been delayed only a couple months to June 24. So
it's taking Mission Impossible slot.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on these delays? Obviously, A Quiet Place isn't that big, but mainly Mission Impossible and that title change out of nowhere.
I think the Mission Impossible delay makes a lot of sense. Not just in regards to these writer strikes, not writer strikes, the Actors Guild strikes, but primarily because of the box office reception of Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to do a follow-up movie this early on because the social brain of moviegoers is going to be too much the same as it was right now when you release the next one. So it makes sense to wait a little longer, see if people's desires change a bit, and then maybe by the time it releases in 2025, people will actually be a little bit more thirsty for something like Mission Impossible.
Right.
Who knows?
I don't know. I'm more on the other side of the fence for this one, I think. I'm not too sure about the production for Mission Impossible 8 because I do believe that they still got filming to do, and obviously they can't because of the strikes and whatnot. But I think it's not the right move. If production is finished and they can get this movie out by June next year, then they should have kept it because the strike will be over by then. Well, would hope so at least. So Tom Cruise can do his, international press tour, all that kind of stuff. But I think with the box office being so bad for Dead Reckoning, I think it was like the third lowest grossing one since the Oh no, it's the lowest grossing since the third movie in 2006, which is pretty bad. I think they've got momentum from part one, and it's not part two anymore, but part two should capitalize on the momentum that it's built. We delay it another year, people are going to forget that it's half a story.
That's true.
So I do struggle to see people coming back for more Mission Impossibles, and I think Mission Impossible has kind of outlived its not a gimmick, but its flashiness in terms of real life stunts or Tom Cruise going crazy. I think people are like, okay, well, we know we're going to get that. That's cool. We've seen it before. I don't need to see it again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unless he does something like goes into space and goes to Mars or something like that.
Isn't he going to space in a movie or something?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
And that one will do
Something
money because
potentially.
people want to see that. But yeah, I think from a Mission Impossible, it doesn't make sense. But if they are working on production, then it's best to do it so you can polish this movie. If it's going to be somewhat of the final movie, especially for the Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt era, then you want to polish the hell out of the movie. I've kind of soured a bit on Dead Reckoning. I really liked it when I watched it, but my memory about it, or just like how I feel about it now, it's fine. It's good. It's kind of there with like Rogue Nation. I have Ghost Protocol and Fallout significantly higher than Dead Reckoning at this point in time. So yeah, I think they should polish it up. Final movie, they got to go all out for it. So
Well, clearly
yeah.
their intent behind changing the movie title ties in with this delay. You know, there might even be the case that they've considered what it is that you've said, where they know that the momentum is lost with this delay, so they may as well rebrand to maybe just try and strike a new nerve or a new avenue with audiences. Again, it doesn't make much sense because this is a direct continuation of the previous one. But yeah, I think how do you avoid another repeat of the Dead Reckoning? Like, how do you avoid that?
Well,
Can you avoid that?
Not have
scheduling,
Not have Christopher Nolan and Barbie release another film a week before it releases.
Yeah, no, scheduling was a big factor in it. But yeah, I do think in terms of the Mission Impossible series, in terms of audience interest, has a ceiling, and I think it's hit it. I think Fallout hit the ceiling. I don't think you can go above that. There's just not, a market out there for more of that. So. Yeah, I think I'm more concerned about this title change. Yeah. Perhaps Kyan's right in terms of rebranding. Are they going to take the story in a much different angle in and what they wanted? They have the time, because now it's 2 years away. They can film more material. They can rewrite stuff. So, yeah, part one, and it's the fact that they had part one like in the movie, like you saw it, say part one, and it ended with a cliffhanger. So.
And like the physical media is already going to be released for it, and it's going to have Dead Reckoning Part 1 on those titles or on those covers as well.
Well, you could do a Dead Reckoning Part 2 as a TV miniseries. That'd be cool.
Or like
but not if it continues. It depends on Mission Impossible 8. If it continues after the events of Part 1.
But it could continue on from there, but maybe just do something completely different as a TV series, because Mission Impossible did start as a TV series.
That's true. Yeah. I think Paramount will definitely have a Mission Impossible series.
Yeah, I think it's something that they'll have.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Young Hunt. Oh, we don't need an Ethan Hunt again. Gosh.
Prequel series.
We already had him.
Oh, yeah, very true. And then what was the other one? The Quiet Place Day One.
That's been, so it was March 2024, and it's taken Dead Reckoning Part 2's place at June 2024.
Yeah, no, that's good. I want them to polish that movie up as much as possible.
Definitely.
I'm actually really looking forward to that movie.
I know. It's a prequel, right?
Yeah. It is a prequel, yeah. It's about the start of that whole thing.
That's what I wanted to see, because that first opening section to A Quiet Place Part 2 was like, and honestly, in my opinion, the most riveting part of the film. Actually, there was some other sequences that were great, but for me, I enjoyed that sequence the most.
Just coming out of nowhere and scary.
The tension was just amazing.
And because it's about these characters learning how these aliens behave.
Yes.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. So I think they can do a lot with it. I know Krasinski's not directing, but the director,
Michael Sinetsky?
directed Pig. Yeah, and that was really good. So I have a lot of faith in that. Lupita Nyong'o, amazing actress, and I think if she signed on for it, I think
she seems like the perfect actor for Quiet Place for some reason. I don't know why.
I think it's because
I'm imagining us.
She does like horror, as in her facial expressions come into horror, if that makes sense.
That's true. Yeah,
fare really, really well.
Yeah, her and Us, a really, really good performance.
It is.
Yeah.
You're right.
So if she can do something like that in this, yeah, it's going to be a good performance.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't get delayed.
Oh, please, no, I can't do it anymore.
Speaking of more delays, Disney has come out with a bunch of them this morning. So Pixar's Elio has been delayed from March 2024 to June 2025. Magazine Dreams has been removed from the 2023 schedule altogether, for obvious reasons, because it stars Jonathan Majors. And Snow White, the live-action remake, that's been delayed from March 2024 to March 2025, but they also dropped a first look at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs as well, so weird. But yeah, what's your thoughts on these delays?
I don't really care about any of them. They're not ones that I've really been looking forward to at all. The Jonathan Majors ones, I think that would just be, if he's found not guilty, it's going back on the schedule instantly. Yeah. But we'll see what what the verdict is there. As for, Pixar's Elio?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? I don't know if there's I think there's a trailer out for it. I haven't watched it. Yeah, Pixar's not really a movie or like a studio anymore that is something that I have to watch. I am like absolutely invested in, just because there's such a hit or miss, up and down kind of studio at the moment. But it's an original film. Elemental came out, and I really did love Elemental, so perhaps it may do something here. Snow White being delayed by a year. It's interesting. It's probably for the best because, I saw that first look photo today. It looked like, I thought it was concept art.
Me too, yeah.
I looked up a couple sources, but no, it's a photo from the thing.
It looks fake.
It looks really
like
bad. Yeah.
It looks like The Hobbit. But
it looks really bad. And, we've all seen the production stills for Snow White and how it was going to portray these dwarfs. So now we're getting this as well, because I know Disney confirmed those production stills as legit to the movie. Mm-hmm. And so now this photo shows us that they are actually dwarfs. So I have no idea what to make of it. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the Snow White movie, but I'm not really looking forward to it. It doesn't sound like any of the cast are looking forward to it either, so why would I be?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those movies that you get filter fed like promotional material for it, like new trailers, new sneak peeks, and all this stuff, and you just hear about it for so long, and then it releases, and you didn't even realize it released, and you're like, oh, it released last week. Yeah. It's going to be one of those movies, I feel, and there's going to be no sort of like a build to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've been hearing about this movie for years. Probably because I have, but yeah, I just, I don't see this movie sort of being a big release and really being a success for Disney. I don't see this as a box office win.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, I've heard lots of stuff about this from sources that do not cover movies or TV or anything pop culture. They're always talking about Rachel Zegler's comments, and it's such a big deal for a lot of people. And whether you agree with it or not or whatever, it's causing this kind of negative emotion surrounding this movie. Like, you go on the Wikipedia page, it already has controversies as like a tab you can go on to. So they have so much to fight in terms of marketing and generating buzz. I think it's going to be very hard to do. And I think just naturally people aren't that interested in these kind of live action remakes.
Yeah.
Your thing about controversies is that I agree with you, but then I also think that Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom is also coming out, and we obviously had that whole Amber Heard fiasco. So if that's successful because people want to go see the controversy or what happened off it, then maybe that could translate to Snow White. It's a bit different because Aquaman is more front and center by Jason Momoa, where Snow White is more Rachel Zegler. But I think if those two films can be really similar in terms of their controversies and how the film itself will do.
I think it's kind of controversies and all that kind of stuff. I think they do actually help the box office at the end of the day, and in some ways, but it comes with a ton of negative reception.
Yeah.
So everyone goes and sees it and basically talks shit about it for months.
Like The Flash and Ezra Miller, most or a lot of the reviewers or critics were talking about the controversy rather than Ezra Miller's performance.
That's true, and that translated to very horrible box office. So perhaps it does dissuade people from actually going to see it. Because I don't think Aquaman's going to be successful, and I don't think Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs will be successful either.
Yeah, it's hard to say because at the end of the day, you know, the core audience for Snow White is, you know, family, as Disney's core audience always is. So it's really hard to get a gauge on really how the average family is responding, if at all, to any of the controversies and big quotations that are surrounding it. I don't even think most families are aware, but I think it really ultimately comes down to, does the audience want something like this right now?
Right.
You know,
I think I was reading that I think it was like a son or a grandkid of someone who did the very original Snow White movie and just kind of blasting off about Rachel Zegler's comments and stuff like that. So you're getting like people that have worked with the original stuff really having a negative reaction to all of it. That's why I think it's spreading, and I think it's going to spread to families as well. Especially if the movie represents kind of what she's saying. I don't think families are going to have a liking to that. Yeah.
Well, we've got 2 years to wait before we actually see it, so yay. All right, we're moving on into a little sneak peek of physical media releases for November next month, which I'll be dropping a full calendar release shortly. So this is just a few big ones or ones that sort of interest me. There's a whole lot more. So we have Gran Turismo, a Scarface Steelbook, Twilight Saga box set, Oppenheimer, WandaVision, the TV series, and The Equalizer 3. So I'm going to do what James used to do back in the podcast of last year's. Instead of discussing this, we'll just play a game about it, which is buy, rent, sell.
Oh,
so I'm going to remove Oppenheimer from it because I think that's an obvious one off a buy. So James and Kyan, buy, rent, sell of the movies on that list in front of you, excluding Oppenheimer.
Ooh.
And I'll share mine as well, obviously.
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder. I had an easy buy there.
well, there are 5 movies there, right? 5
things.
5 things to select. So how do you buy, rent, sell?
So you just choose one to buy, choose one to...
So you would sell 3 then?
Well, you'd buy 3?
Okay, I clearly explained this poorly. So you just choose 3 within those categories.
Okay, and what happens to the ones that we don't choose?
They just stay on the shelves.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I would sell Twilight Saga box set. I'd make my money.
Wait, so have you explained what all of these movies are to the audience?
What? Huh? The movies.
Oh, you did mention all of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mistake.
Oh my god, I'm so confused.
All right. Okay. So I would sell the Twilight Saga box set. I'm not too interested in that franchise at all. I think I like 1 movie out of the 5. I would probably buy. I actually don't know. I'd probably buy WandaVision. I have all of the MCU stuff, and I would just buy it just because I feel compelled to. Criticize me if you want, but that's my decision there. And I'll probably rent Scarface then, even though I would love to have Gran Turismo. If I get that for a discount price, I would buy that because it's a super fun movie. Yeah.
And the screaming?
Pardon?
Favorite part?
No.
I would probably buy Scarface. Just because it's something that if I had on my shelf, I would, and someone saw that, they'd be like, "Oh, that's good, that's good," And whereas if I just had, Equalizer 3 or Gran Turismo, it's not something that's particularly great. So Scarface is what I would buy.
Mm-hmm.
What I would rent is probably Gran Gran Turismo. I've not seen it,
No.
so I'd like to see it, see what it's all about. And Sony are really good at their UHD releases, so I reckon it'd be a visual blast. And then I would sell the Twilight Saga box set because that would result in the most money.
Yeah. Really would.
That would, yeah. I think we all have the same sales here. I'd sell Twilight as well. One, will make what Kind said, will make a lot of money, and two, I don't like that franchise. What I would buy is, I think I'm in the same predicament as James of tossing up between Scarface and WandaVision. I'll probably go Scarface just based that I've never seen it before. So if I like it, I'd like to keep it.
Yeah.
With WandaVision, I already know what I'm going to get for it.
Yeah.
So that would be my rent. I'd rent out WandaVision and buy Scarface.
Fair enough.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
If Oppenheimer was in the mix, we were buying that?
No, I'm selling it. Yes, I'll be buying that.
Yeah. Would you buy it over Scarface?
Yeah, I'd buy it easily over Scarface. Yeah.
That's why I took it out.
On Gran Turismo.
All right, that was a fun, quick little segment. Right, on to the next one, which is the Iron Claw. We just got a trailer for that. It's a professional wrestling film based on Kevin Von Erich and the Von Erich family. It stars Zac Efron and Lily James. So Zac Efron is starring as Kevin Von Erich. We won't go into spoilers in regards to what actually happens or the family, but it's a doozy. So you guys watched the trailer. What are your thoughts on the trailer?
I think it looks very, very well produced. I can't say it really evoked anything for me while I was watching it. I couldn't really get a sort of a read on what it was doing. It looked to me just very, at least the structure of the trailer itself was quite typical.
Yeah.
It's just sort of introducing this guy and then showing various shortcuts of tense and tragic moments that have no context at all.
Yeah.
And you're just getting just very vague ideas of what it's about. So yeah, again, there was no sort of real hook in that trailer that made me go like, ooh. I was just sort of like overall like kind of just impressed by its production, and that was really it. What caught my eye the most about it was the director. And I have seen one of his movies, which is called Martha Macy May Marlene.
Yeah.
And it's a movie with Elizabeth Olsen. And it's very good. It's very, very hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's quite a brutal movie. And extremely uncomfortable.
Right.
So this director clearly knows how to produce those sorts of feelings. And I'm sure that how that will translate to this will be very beneficial.
Yeah. No, I was doing a little bit of reading up on this background when the trailer came out from two sources that have seen an early cut of this movie. They do say it's heart-wrenching, similar to what the director's done before, and say it's like by far and away his best film ever. So that's really promising. I actually see this being a little bit of a competitor in the Oscar race, a late one there. It missed all the film festivals, but that was just due to editing. It was recently just finished editing. So we'll see if it can generate enough buzz to get to that Oscar level. As for the trailer itself, I really liked it. It's always funny to see Zac Efron being just as big as humanly possible again after he said that he would never put himself through that kind of diet and workout plan, but here he is. Also, Jeremy White, I didn't know he was that big as well. But obviously you can see from the beard that he is. Yeah. It's good to see people like Jeremy Wright and like Ebon Moss-Bachrach, who like I've just seen in The Bear and now are being in all these other things as well. So it's cool to see that. But overall from the movie or from like the trailer itself, I think it looks good. I think it nails its the 1960s kind of look and feel, and hopefully you get to see some of that reflected in like a more classical style of wrestling and the kind of what it was like back then. And as for the story itself, I know I haven't gone too deep into it. I don't want to, but I know the basic premise since everyone was talking about it. I'm very interested to see how the director can really make that story work. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's from the second act onwards is gonna be the moment where it starts hitting everyone.
Definitely, yeah.
Because I know this family and what happened, so
Mhm.
and as you do, and based on what we've read,
Yeah.
that second act is probably where you can see
Mhm.
stuff starting to hit. But yeah, I'm excited for this. It looks quite similar. Well, the other professional wrestling film that we've gotten that had award buzz was A Wrestler, starring Mickey Rourke. And
Yeah.
this gave me that same vibes when I watched it in terms of like the professional wrestling side of stuff.
Yeah.
And the way they capture that is great. By the way, so I think this is going to be shot beautifully as well.
Yeah.
Similar to The Wrestler, and I think SAG-AFTRA's going to have a very, very good performance here, probably a career best in my opinion, just based on this trailer.
Yeah, what would be his career best?
Would it be
Does he have an easy one to identify?
Ted Bundy?
The unspeakably evil, wickedly vile, and cruel, or whatever the
The
hell it was
longest
called.
title ever.
Yeah.
It's probably the first thing that comes to my mind.
This could be a career best, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good, and I think it's gonna take a turn where people will just be like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. I think it might catch people by surprise.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking
Definitely.
forward to it.
All right, next trailer that we'll be discussing is Maestro. It stars Carey Mulligan and Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper's second film that he's directed. The other one was A Star Is Born, and it's based on Leonard Bernstein, who is a famous composer. So we've seen the trailer. It's a big one for the Oscars. I think, pretty sure it is. What are your thoughts on it?
I really, really love that trailer. Bradley Cooper might win Best Actor. He might win Best Actor. He might beat Cillian and Leo.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks fantastic. He looks really good. And those prosthetics might be some of the best I've ever seen.
It looks really good at
He looks like a completely different person. I was reading up on the prosthetic side of things, actually. He would have to wake up at 1 a.m., 6 hours to get it done. And it's all on the hands, the hair, and like this whole face, and obviously the nose and everything. But he looks incredible. I don't know if I'm going to be more impressed with the performance or the directing, because I know this film depicts 5 different time periods of Leonard Bernstein's life, mostly covering the complex relationship between him and his wife, and obviously going to be covering some of Leonard Bernstein's parts of his sexuality and all that stuff. I think this is going to be a knock in the park for Bradley Cooper. He knows how to handle romance. We saw it in A Star Is Born. And I think what things are missing from the movie industry these days is those complex romance stories. I think we're seeing less and less romance in films these days. But what we saw in A Star Is Born, if he can even capture something of that in terms of the romantic side of it, I think it's going to be a heavily hard-hitting movie. And just, he seems to have elevated his game from his directorial debut to his second movie based on the technical side of things. This movie looks beautiful. You know, you got the black and white, you got a different aspect ratio in there. It's just, it's, as Kyan was saying early in the week, it's just, the mark of someone who's just, it doesn't feel like their second movie.
No.
It's just, it looks so beautifully polished. And I really can't wait for this. That's why I think I had Maestro as 10th in my most anticipated, and it looks like it's going to pay off.
Yeah. I thought you were going to vomit there for a second.
No, I just like turned my head and suddenly coughed. On to your first comment, I think, James. You said, Bradley Cooper could be on track for winning Best Actor. And it just occurred to me, has anyone won Best Actor and Best Director at the same time?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think anyone would have done that.
Yeah, that's kind of...
maybe someone might have been nominated, like Clint Eastwood or something. But I don't think...
Not one.
Yeah, I don't think one would ever have been won both at the same time.
Yeah. It's just too hard to do.
So hard to do. Yeah.
If he pulls it off.
But yeah, I think it really gave me the feelings of like I was saying earlier in the week, someone who's well beyond their years.
Yeah.
As a director, there are plenty of examples, not plenty, but maybe a handful of examples of younger directors, and I say Bradley Cooper is a younger director.
Yeah.
Who are capable of, Damien Chazelle as an example.
Yeah.
Who are beyond their years in terms of their skill. But there's a feeling that you get when you watch it. And it's very much something that only those people who have a master's touch at directing can produce. You can get that sort of, you start getting this feeling of when you're watching those shots between him as an older man and him in his current age, and you get this very sort of almost, it feels like the story of his life. It feels, you start getting these feelings that you only feel when you watch a Spielberg or a Scorsese or one of those. And I'm not saying Bradley Cooper is at that level, but I'm saying he's reaching that level of, masterful directing tier if he can pull this off.
Yeah. Do you ever think that Bradley Cooper at some point in time can get to that kind of level or status as a director?
I think so. I think he'll need to take a step back from acting and voice performing and stuff like that and just focus on directing. Because A Star is Born released was 2018.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, so this is like 5-6-ish years in between then. So if he just takes a step back from acting and just purely focuses on directing, if he just keeps releasing banger after banger, I think he can definitely get up to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can release a movie every, maybe say like 3 years, 3 or 4 years, then yes, because it's the pace of about Tarantino and maybe even loosely the pace of Nolan. He maybe releases something every 3 years.
Yeah, he's every 3 years. Yeah.
So if you can get to that stage, and yes, because to get to that tier, you actually need to release a lot of movies because they need to hit a lot of avenues. You really need to, as suckful as it is, you have to prove yourself in a sense. You have to prove that you can produce masterpiece after masterpiece after masterpiece, and then masterpieces in different ways.
And I think he'll need to explore different genres. Can't stay in music or romance and that kind of stuff. So he'll need to move on. But I think hitting them at a higher clip would get him to like a higher status in terms of how he's being viewed as a director.
Yes,
but I mean, this is just very impressive. Since he is he's producing and writing this as well. So he's kind of
doing everything.
He's the composer of this movie. And I think just someone to put that together, I think, it's a very tough thing to do, especially if you're going to be headlining it as a director or not as an actor.
Yeah.
It's just an added layer of harder work and understanding all this other stuff as well. So, big year for Bradley Cooper.
Big year.
Thing I like about the trailer is the different sort of visual style we're going to get to it. We're going to get like color scenes, but it's all going to be different types of color scenes, if that makes any sense. And they also have black and white scenes, and those black and white scenes seem different to the other black and white scenes. So I think visually it's going to be fantastic.
I had my YouTube, when I was watching it on YouTube, the trailer, I like tried to select the best option, but YouTube was like choking trying to do the trailer because there was so much grain in that movie.
Oh yeah,
there were sequences in it where it's a very heavy grain. And clearly shot it on film, and you just see all like the compression. In YouTube, and it's going can't handle it.
Same when I was watching, I was like, I clicked the highest quality, but this seems like 720p or something like that.
Yeah.
But it should be good, and the Oscar race is definitely gonna get shaken up once this releases, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving on to the studios giving a deadline on the actors. So pretty much they've given the actors a week to make a deal. And if no deal is being made, then negotiations will not happen until January next year. Studios believe that if a deal's not made and it gets delayed to January next year, then the autumn shows TV series is lost for that entire year, and the summer and new movies won't release until the following summer. So, do you guys? I'm not going to ask you what do you guys think about this, because obviously I think we all know the answer. But do you guys think the actors should take the deal within the next week, or just keep fighting?
Depends on the deal. Depends entirely on the deal.
Yeah.
And it also, this is as much a statement from them as it is a demand. They're putting pressure on the Actors Guild right now. That's what this is. This is a pressure tactic for them to go, let's make a deal now. This is almost a threat. Yeah.
I have a bit of information to add on to that. I want to know you guys' perspectives about it. So apparently, in terms of on the negotiation table, SAG-AFTRA has demanded $1 per subscription fee from streaming divisions for studios. on top of pay rises and other benefits. But the studios are calling that an untenable economic burden. And then studios are pushing for a viewership bonus model. So if it reaches like a certain threshold of viewership, they get an extra amount of pay. But then the SAG-AFTRA believe that their revenue sharing plan is just a better model to ensure pay for performers. So that $1 per subscription fee would go to SAG-AFTRA and then they distribute it however they do. What do you think is more compelling out of those two?
So what's the studios one? The reach is, say, 100 views or something, and then they get a percentage of the earnings, or just between that?
I don't know the specifics on how much they have to be viewed, but basically, the more it's viewed, the more likely they're going to get a pay or a pay increase and all that kind of stuff.
I
So,
feel you get more money out of the $1 per subscription thing, right?
You would. I think that would be the most costly for the studios for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely,
moving $1. I mean, I remember not so long ago, Disney Plus was like maybe like $8 for a
Mhm.
month.
yeah.
$1 from that, you're looking at 15% of that entire
Mm-hmm.
subscription fee going to SAG-AFTRA. That's a lot of money.
It's a huge amount of money.
That's a huge amount of money. You know,
Yeah.
you do that over a month. How many subscribers does Disney Plus have? 150 million?
To 200 million.
200 million. So they're getting probably now, because the fee's gone up,
Yeah.
maybe 40, 50 million,
Yeah.
40 million maybe
A month.
a month.
It's ridiculous. That's
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I understand that, it costs money to pay people. People are a
Yeah.
huge expense.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is a really hard thing to answer. I can only really make observations on it. I can't say what is right or wrong.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, we don't know all the details, so
Yeah.
we're just here providing our take from the information that we know. It's a very nuanced kind of thing. But I mean, I think that a deal needs to be done in the next week. You can't keep pushing this. I've already read that I think 12,000 jobs have been lost because of the strike, unrelated to acting and stuff. So they're costing people's livelihoods by striking. And I'm not trying to say
That's what striking does.
Yeah.
That's what's the essence of striking, is that you strike at a cost. Striking costs something.
It does.
And the people who are striking know that it costs something.
Yeah, so I believe the studios in terms of what they say, that production will not be able to start till 2024 if the deal can't get done in the next week. There's so many schedules for actors to work out as soon as everything's sorted out between studios and the SAG. And, we're coming into the final 2 months of the year now. I don't see a resolution here. And I honestly think SAG-AFTRA needs to be a little bit more lenient, get your fair wages and fair working conditions, revisit this in 3 years. The studios were just hit with COVID. We all were hit with COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't had enough time for the movie industry to really get back on its feet again, get a good rhythm going. If they wait 3 years, then come in with the streaming thing if they need to. Get what you can now and make sure make sure the data is verifiable and that the studios aren't ripping you off, and then just take as much as you can that's fair for everyone involved, because at this point in time you're going to be costing a lot more than just actors their jobs, their wages, and obviously that has a ripple effect to every single other person.
There's absolutely no doubt you can't strike forever. That you can't do it forever. There has to be an end point to it. And I suppose it really comes down to whether or not that deal is amicable for both parties. If the SAG-AFTRA feel that they are getting ripped off, majorly ripped off by the studios, and say, well, looks like you're going to have to wait another 3 months, then we'll revisit it. That's really just more of a threat than it is any meaningful way of trying to actually negotiate.
Yeah.
That means that the studios haven't even tried.
Yeah.
They're just going, no.
Yeah. No, I mean, I again, I'll reiterate that I don't know all the details. It's a very complex issue that goes beyond any person that's not at the negotiating table. But I'm just saying, if the studios are offering something that's kind of fair, you got to take it for now. Wait 3 years, allow the film industry to get on their feet, because I know studios have been losing money quarter after quarter. So how are they meant to elevate these payments if they're also losing money? I think at some point in time, everyone's going to lose from the strike.
Yeah, and if they keep delaying, then movies aren't getting released, which means studios aren't making money, which means they're just going to probably lower the offer because there's no revenue coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all forgetting one thing, though, is that we are judging the movie industry currently purely based on box office performance. And that's something that we can all see. We can't see streaming performance, and we can't see streaming revenue dollars and profits.
It's hard to say. They released it on a quarterly. Yeah.
They release details to their shareholders, yes, on shareholders meetings, but we don't know the exacts of everything. We don't know the exacts of what movie makes what to them and how that relates to X amount of money. These are the things that I think are very murky and grey. And how is an actor supposed to quantify what they're worth based off streaming performance?
It's a lot of nuance to it. There are third parties out there that they have like a certain amount of time watched per thing. Say like something like Stranger Things was watched 400 million minutes were watched, and a third party will do that, but it's still not coming from the studio directly, so you can't fully bank on it.
Yeah, like if Stranger Things season 5 comes out, and it's hugely popular and it results in an additional 20 million subscribers to Netflix. That's 20 million for 20 million subscribers in just a month. Say, right? So just a month, and then how much is it? How much is a Netflix subscription? It's like $15 or something. Yeah, probably more than that now.
I'd be like the US.
I mean, that's a lot of money. Just boom, straight off the bat.
Yeah.
So you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars there.
Yeah, but then you can't. I mean, you can, but like you don't know that Stranger Things brought all 20 million new things. So,
but you do because Netflix has those numbers. They can quantify that.
But how do they know that Strange Things was the motivator for the person that bought the subscription?
Because you can judge by the time that the person subscribed to their watched minutes on Stranger Things, and you can correlate that. You can go, okay, this person subscribed, and it's clear to me that they immediately started watching Stranger Things.
That's true. That's a lot of data to shift through, though.
They got big servers.
They do have big servers. Yeah. I don't know. It's a very complex situation,
which is why it's so hard to make a conclusion on it, because it's sort of like, well, we don't know this and this, but we do know this and this, and what's fair, what's not fair.
Yeah. I think I would go for the viewership bonus model that the studios want to do. It depends on how much they want to pay and what they want to pay is the part where I would disagree or agree on. But the viewership bonus model would actually provide an incentive to all creators, a part of the team creating these projects, to be as best as possible so that more people watch it, and that the more people that watch it, the more money they're going to get from it. So something that gets like 5 views, why would they get the same that gets like 10,000 views, you know? Yeah.
I would probably agree with that as a very fair and equitable way to do it. I think there just also would need to be some transparency about viewership as well.
Definitely. They do
a lot more transparency.
They do need to do that, yeah.
Yeah, I think studios and streaming services will need to release those data more frequently, maybe on a monthly or
just even a weekly, a weekly release and updated figures of the viewership on each specific show or thing that is releasing.
Just like minutes watched or
minutes watched, Well, household, viewings of it or
Again, it's even a hard thing to like provide data for. Like, what if you've put on Stranger Things and then you got to go for a run or something like that, and it's just playing in the background? Like, it doesn't mean that people are watching. So
no, I mean that's true and everything, but those are usually like the minority anyway.
I don't know, man. A lot of people put on Netflix and don't watch it.
Yeah, I suppose they do put it on in the background, but Netflix will put up a prompt.
Background shows, Netflix and chill, all that kind of stuff. Like, but I guess it's like box office. If you're buying a ticket, it doesn't mean you're watching the movie. You could just be leaving the movie, and
Yeah, I mean, think about DVD rental days. How many people went to the DVD like Blockbuster and then hired 3 DVDs, but then their week got busy and they only had time to watch one of them and they had to return their tapes.
No, I feel like whatever you would rent from a video store, you would watch it because you're paying for that specific title.
You'd think, but I
Yeah.
remember as a kid there were things that we just didn't get the time to watch, and we returned them anyway.
From your stories, you got like loads at a time.
Yeah,
right?
we bought like 8 at a time. And
Yeah. So
finished
that
them, but-
in that case, it makes
Yeah.
sense. But like with Netflix, if you can go and do your errands and then come back to it and stuff like that, so
Yeah.
the convenience factor.
And if
plays-
you pause it, does it still count as seconds going?
no,
Or
I
is it
wouldn't.
just,
no,
or is
yeah,
it just a play runtime?
it would just be play runtime.
Netflix
Imagine.
boots you anyway if you're not continually like saying yes, I'm here. You know,
that's
it
annoying.
brings up a prompt. You know,
Yeah, I have seen that before,
yeah.
but it only happens sometimes.
It's when you're doing like show after show after show and you've not touched the remote.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm. But no, yeah, complicated situation. I hope it gets resolved in the next week. We need things. Like, I'm just going to talk from the consumer, the greedy kind of point of view. COVID was hard to go through with delays, so much
Yeah.
stuff delaying, and then there was stuff I wanted to see in IMAX or in the big screen, and I couldn't because lockdowns and all that stuff. And it's just a really shitty feeling to have to go through, another delay onslaught again. It's been 4 years, 2020, 21, 22, and now 23. I've just delay after delays. And I don't know, man, as a movie fan, I just kind of want some consistency.
Yeah, we thought we were over those delays, and then boom, 2023 mid happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh well. We'll sign off there, guys. Thanks for
Wait.
wait.
You forgot one of your things.
What?
The Wanda Maximoff?
Oh yes, I did. I completely forgot about
Man is lost today.
that. I did completely forget about that. So there's been a recent book that's come out in regards to Marvel Studios. And the fate of Wanda Maximoff has been revealed. Last we saw her was in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, where she pretty much brought an entire kingdom down on her. And the book has confirmed that, yep, she is dead. She is gone. Done. Not going to come back, apparently. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Did you guys think that the Wanda character was wasted throughout the MCU? If this is her end, or do you,
Yeah, I think I was saying on the chat before.
you don't
I
care?
was, I cared for like 10 seconds. I was like, oh, that's really silly. Why did they do that? I was like, they built this character up, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I just think with Marvel's momentum, whatever they choose to do now, I don't think I have enough investment in their narrative lines now for that to really hold any salt.
Mm.
I don't think, a few years ago, I would have been like, are you bloody kidding me? What the hell?
Yeah.
But now I just like, fine.
Mm.
How do you really care about that when Marvel's in the state it's in?
Right. Yeah.
It's suckful, but I think what they did with Wanda anyway was kind of suckful as well.
Mm.
It was not super compelling.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that obviously points to the larger issues of all of our personal investment in MCU, because you go back quite a bit ago and you would kind of be upset about this, like, oh, what the hell? Like, that makes no sense. But yeah, like this personally as well, I don't have that care, or I was just like, oh shit, all right. I didn't even care for 10 seconds. I was just, oh yeah.
Mm.
It was just like nothing to me. I think Wanda was just horribly written in the end. They didn't know what to do with the character. She went from like good to bad to good, and then to bad again. Yeah, and it was just all over the place. And if she is dead, then is she gone for good? Because I still think she'll come back. And I was watching Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm like, oh, she's not dead. She'll come back.
Mhm.
Like, I just immediately assume that. I think that does actually point to the fact that we can't take Marvel death seriously because we just think they're going to come back.
Yeah. There's no permanence.
The whole multiverse thing has fucked it up, hasn't it?
I think so. Even if they close the multiverse and it's sold forever or whatever, I can't take any deaths really seriously. Mark my words. I think Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. will come back. I don't know in what form. I don't know.
Secret Avengers.
Yeah, I mean they'll come as a variant, or they'll come in some other form. But you're not going to see the last of people. I think that's probably one of the biggest issues for Marvel is the fact that we can't take death seriously.
It comes down to Marvel, not Marvel actually, Disney being afraid to commit.
Yes.
They have a problem with commitment, and specifically killing off characters, where it's quite ironic because when you kill off a character, you create, this very like impactful scar, and people remember it.
Yeah.
They feel that scar, and it leaves a mark, and people go back to it. They remember it, and then it makes everything going forward more meaningful.
Yeah.
But when you cheapen that, when you make it meaningless, it's like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
This thing is coming out and it's going to have this character in it who supposedly died. And you're like, okay. I think the first instance we saw of that was like Infinity War. And then they announced like the new Spider-Man movie at the same time. And it was like, well, he's clearly alive.
Yeah.
Like not that I have anything against them keeping Spider-Man alive, but it just, again, it shows that expectation from Disney to be like, we're not going to kill off that character.
I mean, even think of like something that's even worse. Vision dying in Infinity War. And he's back as White Vision.
That we'll probably never hear or see again.
No, Vision Quest. Viv Quest or something like that. That's a real thing. It's a TV show.
I thought that was a fucking meme.
No. So, like, yeah, this is just crazy. I don't ever watch a Marvel MCU thing with the fight with the big bad and be like, oh, shit, maybe the bad guy might win here.
Yeah.
Even Kang, the next big bad, bunch of ants just take him away.
Bro, that's a topic. That's a topic for another day, bro.
And, like, for the first half of that movie, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a real bad guy. He's scary. Oh, no, ants will just come in and just take him where he needs to go.
And now you have like a fucking Gaia with every superhero power imaginable in her. She can just go and be like, done. Fuck you. See you later.
Yeah, so I think we really need to see stakes. I just want to feel stakes in these things. I want to know that the hero's under threat, or that the mission may not get done. They may fail. Infinity War is kind of the first time I felt that. And it really elevated that experience, which is why I think Infinity War is one of the best ones, because that whole movie, you're kind of like, oh shit, like, I don't know if they can do it this time, eh? Like, this is kind of like really tough. And then you feel it and they don't win.
Yeah.
And then that hits you, and then in game, it's like, yeah. So we need that back in the MCU.
We do. Hopefully, with all this restructuring that they're doing, is we can see more of the first saga sort of stuff where they're just scaling back and just focusing on one story at a time, and maybe we might get to that level again.
Yeah, they just need to close the multiverse. It was a failed experiment. It's not working.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you guys heard of the news about the cameo in the Marvels?
No, I haven't heard.
I won't spoil it for you, but
You can just do it off air.
Yeah. Well, it's out. Like, news people are like sharing it. I think it was revealed in like a TV spot or something, because of the pre-sales being so bad. So let's show this character. Yeah. But we'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
For anyone who's looking forward to the movie, go and see it.
Yeah, pay your money for it because it clearly needs it. All right, that would actually do us today. I completely forgot about that segment.
Wait, what about... No.
Oh, yeah, bonus segment. Is that we're done. So that'll do us today on the Let's Be Real podcast. Hope you've all enjoyed this mayhem of a podcast wherever you've been listening from. If you have any questions about this episode, be sure to hit us up on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, whatever. Flick us a DM on probably Instagram or X/Twitter, and we can respond to you. If you have any ideas, let us know. We might include it in our future podcast. If you want to see what else we get up to, head over to MovieGainz.com and check out all the content that we create. Ranges from reviews, box office analysis, Oscar content, and physical media content as well. And be sure to sign up to our newsletter so you can always keep up to date with the latest content as well. And hey, if you enjoyed us rambling on very messily in this podcast, head over to Spotify or wherever you pod from and search Let's Be Real and give us a good old listen. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. Catch you later. We're MovieGainz.
Peace.
Bye-bye.